Good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar today, where we're going to be discussing integrating the VRF or HVAC systems into Crestron Home. My name is Ben Shipley. I'm Vice President of North American Sales. It's my honor to be able to moderate today. Grateful for everybody's attendance here. I'd like to first start out by introducing our panelists that will be in this webinar today. We have Kevin Ward, who is our customer success manager. He'll actually be presenting the presentation. And we have as panelists as well, David Diaz-Perez, who is our technical sales manager. And we're also honored to have Jason Oster from Crestron, who has attended here with the webinar as well. And he is he's product management, residential solutions. Jason, is there anything you'd like to say before we head into the presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for inviting me to the webinar. It's an honor to be here, so thank you. Yeah, like you said, my role at Crestron is product manager in charge of the whole Crestron Home solution. So Kevin's going to be going into a lot more details, and I'll kind of be behind the scenes here to help answer questions as they come in. But I just want to mention a couple of things quickly before we get into the meat of the webinar about our partnership, right? Crestron Home has thousands of drivers in our system. We certainly don't just get on webinars with thousands of companies. I think CoolAutomation and our partnership is very different. And really the biggest reason is our tight partnership, right? You guys didn't just email us the API and throw it over the wall to us and expect us to create a driver. More than a year ago, we worked together. Our engineering teams, our quality engineering team sat down and designed this together, built this together. So it's really a tight integration, not just yet another driver. So there's that. One more thing before I pass it over is I think our mission and our core values between these two companies really line up nicely, right? Crestron has strong engineering. CoolAutomation has a strong engineering company, not outsourcing it to people, not third-partying it. We both have an eye for quality, and we spend the resources to make sure it's rigorously tested. So I think we both share those types of things, and we both share the values of we really want to be able to control anything. Crestron Home wants to control any AV, lighting, climate control device, and CoolAutomation takes HVAC and can literally control pretty much any HVAC system. So we share a lot of things, and then plus we complement each other nicely. Right, you're taking care of the behind the scenes things of HVAC, and Crestron Home is taking care of the touch panels, the remotes, the beautiful user interface up front. So I think it's a great partnership. So again, thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. And of course, the CoolAutomation side, we are grateful for the longstanding partnership and the close working relationship that we've had, over the years. And are looking forward today to perhaps introducing some of you to the CoolAutomation product, and others that might not be familiar with how to integrate into Crestron from the CoolAutomation side, learning how that might be accomplished. So what I would like to do to begin is give you a brief introduction to the company, talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to turn the time over to Kevin. So CoolAutomation was established in 2009. And they were, the corporate headquarters are in Tel Aviv, Israel. They have a truly global view, and they have offices in Australia, Asia, Europe, and of course, as of the beginning of 2021, we have now established local offices in the United States. We really were established with creating comprehensive integration as well as remote access solution for HVAC systems, particularly with VRF and mini splits. And I think you'll see that a little bit as Kevin's discussing our products and how they integrate. Kevin, you know the next slide. So our core North American team, they're all here on the webinar today. I've already made an introduction to them, but those of you that have worked with CoolAutomation in the past may not be aware that we do have the US presence at this point. So at this point, we have domestic local service support, we have local engineering support, and of course, we have local sales support as well. We also maintain a domestic inventory, warehouse the CoolAutomation products here, which means that we can get them out to you very quickly. For most of our projects, we're looking at less than a week lead time from order into delivery. So let me give just a very, very high level view of the topology of our products. Again, today, this webinar really is not to delve too deeply into this, but for those that are not familiar with it, we do want to briefly orient you how our products work. So at the local facility, you're going to install one of our devices there, and it's designated in that PowerPoint as an edge device. And that's going to connect directly into your VRF system or mini split system. HVAC system may require a controller interface into it. That's going to come back into that integration device. And from there, it's going to have connection options to connect into Crestron, and then also an option to connect remotely utilizing our remote software. So you kind of have a complementary product there where you have your local integration, as we'll discuss in detail. You also have a remote option if that's something of interest as well. Before I turn the time over to Kevin, I am going to extend an invitation that if you have questions during the course of the presentation, to please not hesitate to reach out. You can click on the bottom there. There is a question and answer icon or Q&A icon. Click on that, type in a question, and either myself or Jason or David will be available that we can answer those questions. We'll also leave some time at the end if there's any additional questions to answer those perhaps live. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Kevin and discuss in detail how to integrate HVAC into the Crestron home platform. Thank you. Kevin?
Thanks so much, Ben. So thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Kevin Ward, and I oversee customer success for North America. So that's going to be everything post-sales, when you actually have the product and show up on site to complete your integration. If you ever have any questions or run into any difficulties, I'll be happy to help. I'll be walking you through today, trying to understand a little bit better when you first show up to a site or are introduced to a project, getting a feel for the type of HVAC system that you'll be integrating with. So we'll cover the different types. We'll talk about the CoolAutomation products that complete that integration for you. And then we'll go step by step with the actual integration process into Crestron Home. So taking those points and mapping them out into your app. So to start, when you're first introduced to the project, there are hundreds of different brands of HVAC systems out there. Mitsubishi, Carrier, Trane. A lot of these we're familiar with. We have in our own homes. Some you're not, but hopefully the next steps here will help you identify how you can communicate to each type and then which product to use to help you integrate with it. Between the different brands, we can kind of break that into 3 separate categories, whether that's a traditional HVAC system, split system, heat pump, or rooftop unit. That would fall into the unitary DX system. And then mini split and VRF. The unitary and DX, it's an on-off system, typically 24-volt communication. Thermostat is unsatisfied, sends a signal out to your condenser, compressor kicks on, and you get cooling. This is probably the most common or most popular type of HVAC system in North America, but we've started seeing an exponential growth of mini split and VRF systems introduced into North America as well. The main difference between these types of systems is the type of compressor and the communication between the indoor and outdoor unit. Unitary systems are one way, just tells it on or off, whereas a mini split and VRF system is two-way with an inverter outdoor unit that will ramp up and down and actually match the load being called for from the inside. There's a lot of confusion between a mini split or multi-zone and a VRF. They're really not too different, to be honest. Both have that inverter outdoor or the varying capacity of capabilities. Really, the main difference is going to be a mini split is typically 1-to-1, or a multi-zone system has a home run pipe and communication wire from the outdoor to the indoor. And a VRF system will have multiple outdoor units connected to that single outdoor unit. You may have multiple VRF systems, each of them with multiple indoor units or zones. So how do you integrate with each of these? With our products here, we have more or less designed a specific piece of hardware that is compatible with each system type. The CoolMasternet is probably the most common product that you may be familiar with today. This is our plug and play or universal VRF integration device. We support virtually all manufacturers or VRF systems in North America. It truly is plug and play. As soon as you land your 2-wire communication to the system, they'll auto discover and pull in. There are some times where that doesn't happen if the system's not commissioned properly from your HVAC side. But that's why our team here is available to support you. So CoolMasternet is your VRF solution. And think of brands like Daikin, Mitsubishi, LG, Fujitsu, Toshiba, etc. Next would be the mini split and multi-zone systems. And our dedicated solution is our CoolPlug and CoolLink hub. Single plug is designed to tie directly to each indoor unit, with the hub acting as the brain between the plugs and your Crestron home system. Again, similar manufacturers, Daikin, Mitsubishi, etc. Those are the two main powerhouses in North America. With the system, we do have wireless and wired options available. It's a hardwire connection from the plug to the indoor unit, and then either wired back to the hub or wireless to the hub. For your traditional systems, we have the CoolLink Bridge. This will allow you to connect a traditional 5-wire thermostat to your system, and then tie back into the bridge to complete your integration. This also allows you to integrate with underfloor heating systems. We do have a board that allows for up to 8 zones of control with, but I'll get into a little bit more details on these two solutions in the next slides. So your traditional non-VRF or non-communicating systems will be your Trane, Carrier, Bryant, Goodman, Lennox type systems. Air handler on the inside, and probably what most of you and I are used to seeing outside versus that horizontal or smaller mini split system. At least that's how I tell the difference between them. So the first solution, the 5-wire thermostat, is our SMT131. It connects directly to your HVAC unit, links back to the CoolLink Bridge, and then from there, that bridge is your integration piece back to the Crestron home side. The SMTHOA is an interface board that allows for up to 8 zones and comes with a temperature sensor that you put inside the space, allows for set point control, and then ultimately open and closes a relay that opens and closes the valve for each of those zones. So at the end of the day, 3 separate products, each designed specifically for an HVAC type, VRF, mini splits, and multi-zone, the CoolLink Bridge for your traditional HVAC systems. These are the main devices that help you achieve your integration, and as such, will be installed near your Crestron controller in the home. The main piece to these is the communication using BACnet IP, and we'll start talking about how to actually complete that integration once you have this device connected and once it's discovered the actual connected HVAC, and how to complete that setup on the Crestron home side. This is truly a simple process. On your user interface, each point will be assigned to a BACnet object from the CoolAutomation product, such as your set point, mode, fan speed, and the ability to turn it on and off. Your first step is really download Crestron Home, the setup tool. Be sure that it's updated from OS 2 to OS 3. There are plenty of tools available out there to help you understand this process. Manuals on our website that will help you walk through this step by step. There's no need to memorize the process that I go through today. You'll be able to reference that in the future. Crestron has also provided some details on completing this integration. But the main applications that you'll need to complete it, obviously your Crestron home setup tool, and then also Yabe, which is yet another BACnet Explorer. This is a free tool that's available through SourceForge. We have links that will help you get there as well if you can't find it through that. Key piece to keep in mind is that the BACnet license is required to complete your integration through BACnet IP. This license is included with no additional charge with our products while integrating into Crestron Home. Again, just goes to show the relationship between Crestron and CoolAutomation, that this is a free service available. But without that BACnet license, our products will not be discoverable. So we need to be sure and confirm that that is active and it's enabled for BACnet IP. We do have the ability to set your device instance number and the address, and we're happy to support you with that if it needs to be changed. After that, after confirming that BACnet license is enabled and the units are actually discovered on the device, we need to run the virtual address setup. We have instructions on how to complete that as well. It can be done directly from the CoolMasternet. Simply go to the settings, BMS settings, VA list, and run VA auto. And this will assign a virtual address to each of the connected indoor units, allowing it to communicate via BACnet so that it can be discovered. So you're going to have Yabe open as well as your Crestron home setup tool. You're going to first discover the device on Yabe. And by doing that, once it's open, there's that green plus icon in the top left. You'll add, or you'll choose BACnet IP over UDP. Make sure your local endpoint is correct, and then click add. From there, your devices will populate. You'll likely see the Crestron controller as well as the CoolAutomation device. By default, our address is going to be 64. From your Crestron home side, once you have each of your zones set up, you'll want to hit the gear to start configuring. Find the object ID from Yabe, in this case 64. But you also want to click BACnet Thermostat and add that BACnet Thermostat to your zone. In this case, in our example, it's the kitchen. So now we're adding the controller to that zone. And then from here, there's a 4-step process to complete the mapping. So we're going to add the device. We're going to configure the thermostat set points, the thermostat mode, and the fan mode. From Yabe, each of your zones will be visible as an LX.xxx. LX is the line that's plugged into on the CoolAutomation product, CoolMasternet, CoolLink Hub, or CoolLink Bridge. And then the 3 digits afterwards is the actual zone. Typically 001, 002, and you'll have as many as indoor units as you have in the space. Starting with step 1, adding the device. On Yabe, you can see the CoolMasternet. In this example, it's object or device ID 65. Underneath the devices in the bottom left-hand side of the picture, you can see each of your object points. These will appear as a generic description at first. As you click on them, they'll begin to translate into the object will be defined so that you'll actually see each of your objects clearly with a clear description. So from your Crestron home, the device tab, enter the object ID. If there's multiple devices, 64, 65, or however you have it configured. In this case, we see 65, so we enter 65. We typically leave the priority as a manual operator 8. Second step, the thermostat set points. In this case, you can see, you'll identify the room temp, so L1, 100, and room temp. You can see that this is an analog input, and the value is 256. So at the top, you'll enter analog input, enter 256. What's really great about the Crestron home setup is that it tells you if you're doing it right. That gear icon to the right will illuminate red if it's wrong, or green if you've entered it properly and it's mapped. Sometimes it does take a few seconds to change colors, or maybe you need to change tabs and go back to confirm, but it really does help you through the process. Be sure to pay attention to the object type. Again, this room temp is an analog input, and then the set points is an analog value. So you can see your object list in the bottom left, the set temp, instance 256, and it's an analog value. So on the right hand side and from Crestron Home, your temperature or your room temperature, analog input 256, and then your heating, cooling, and auto set point, also object instance 256, but these are analog values. The next tab on Crestron Home side is the thermostat mode. So on the object list from Yabe, I'd try to find L1 100, whichever stat you're working on, and mode 2. Note there is mode and mode 2. So you do want to be sure you're selecting the right one. You can see they have different instance numbers. In this case, mode 2 equals 259, and you can see it's a multi-state value. So be sure to select multi-state between the 3 options at the top, analog, binary, multi-state. And then in your drop down on your in and out, they're both multi-state values. So we enter 259, and then we need to find the actual object array to identify between cooling, heating, auto, and off. Off is all the way at the bottom, so you can scroll down, typically number 33. So these values under your multi-state value 259, off will be 33, heating will be 2, cooling will be 1, and auto 3. And the last step is configuring the fan mode. So from the objects on Yabe side, you'll want to find your thermostat L1 100 and fan speed. This is also a multi-state value, is equal to 256 in this example. You can see the object arrays low, medium, high, and auto are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So simply enter those in as a multi-state value. Object ID 256, auto being 4, low fan speed being 1, medium being 2, and high being 3. Once you're done with those 4 tabs, your integration is complete. You've mapped out, you have a clean user interface, Crestron Home. Of course, with multiple indoor units, you'll need to repeat the process, so you continue scrolling down on your object IDs. You'll find L1 101, or whatever the address has been identified as, and you'll use those same points in order to complete the mapping for your next BACnet thermostat for the 2nd zone, 3rd zone, etc. It really is a copy paste solution once you've discovered it in Yabe and have everything open. So, and to summarize, when you are introduced to a project, we'd like to help you with making sure you're selecting the right product. So you're going to review the brand of HVAC for that building or for the residential house. Identify if it's VRF mini split or just a traditional split system or heat pump. How many zones do you have? And then select the product. But of course, if you have any hesitation, we are more than happy to help guide you to the right solution. The only thing we need is typically either mechanical drawing set or an equipment scope, just the models of the indoor and outdoor units. You can send this to us and we'll be happy to guide you to the right solution. And beyond that, helping with identify the right product, we are happy to support you as best we can. And there are plenty of resources available through our website at CoolAutomation.com/support, including your installation manuals, BACnet integration guides, the Crestron integration walkthrough. This is SourceForge, how to find yet another BACnet Explorer or Yabe. And we do also have a YouTube channel that you can use to help with your walkthrough as well. So we have a how to integrate CoolMasternet with Crestron, with plenty more content coming. Thank you all so much. That concludes at least the meat of the presentation. I'd like to invite Ben and David back at this point, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that we didn't get to live.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Kevin. I'd like to also invite Jason on as well. Appreciate the walkthrough. Of course, I hope if what is illustrated here is that it's a very simple, straightforward process for integrating effectively any HVAC system into the Crestron Home platform. As Kevin's indicated, we're here to support you as well in that effort. So whether you're wondering what is needed on the HVAC side or the logistics for bringing that into the Crestron platform, we'll be there and we're available. We're got our phone numbers up there if you want to write those down and email us. Happy to work with you in whatever way we can. So we're getting a flurry of questions right now. So I'm going to start answering some of those, but before we do, I'd like to give Jason another opportunity. If there's anything else you wanted to add at this point, Jason.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Just to add a couple of things while we're looking at the questions. So even though Kevin mostly covered Crestron Home, just as a reminder, there's also standard simple module support as well for the people that are writing custom programs. So those modules are available over at the Crestron application market. But again, Crestron Home has been so popular lately, and it's, as you can tell, it's really easy to integrate. So a lot of people are going that route instead. But just to kind of summarize what Kevin was saying, when it comes to Crestron Home, really our goal is to make a unified front end for the customers, and then a front end that's really consistent for them. So especially a lot of Crestron end users will have multiple homes. So some homes will have different HVAC systems. Some homes may even have Crestron thermostats. But kind of the advantage here is to them, they have the same unified experience on their phone, on their touch panels, on their remotes as they go from room to room or from house to house. It's really unified for them. So I think that's really, really important for your customers. The other thing to summarize too is just our tight integration and our close partnership. Again, both strong companies as far as engineering goes, very rigorous when it comes to quality and innovation. So I don't want that to be lost. That is really key here. And we continue to test. As we release new Crestron Home versions, like once every 6 weeks or so, we're pushing the envelope, pushing new features out. We have CoolAutomation systems set up in our quality engineering lab, and we're testing it in every single release. So we're not going to slow that down, and we're going to keep up this strong partnership with CoolAutomation. And again, our mission to be able to control anything in the world with Crestron Home, that's a great story when it comes to being able to control virtually any HVAC system in the world. So again, strong partnership, and we complement each other really well when it comes to a first-class user interface, talking to a very robust back-of-house HVAC system. So I really appreciate you guys inviting me here, and I really enjoy this relationship, and looking forward to having a tight relationship going forward too. It's great. Thank you.
Jason, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you for attending this webinar. It was great to have you with us. Looking at the questions, I think a lot of them have been handled. There's a couple more, some about the carrier Infiniti system. I think, David, you might have already answered that, but we have a couple people that are asking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Carrier Infiniti, David, would you like to answer it? So,
Yeah,
David,
unfortunately, carrier Infiniti systems are not yet compatible with our solutions. We are working with different. We are constantly working on expanding our compatibility with the different models and different brands of equipment that keep coming out. You know, every month or so. Infiniti systems are not yet supported.
Yes, thank you. So we do work with the manufacturers though, and Infiniti is a frequent request, so I would never eliminate it completely, but at this point today, we do not directly support it. Now, if there's an open interface to any of these systems, meaning that they're able to communicate out Modbus or BACnet, then that means that we can provide support to that into the Crestron home platform or into the Crestron platform. So I had another question about integrating into Crestron without BACnet. David, do you have an answer to that, or Jason? I think that's the common thread, right?
Yeah. So the communication between for VRF systems, our solution from the CoolAutomation side is a CoolMasternet device. The communication today between the CoolMasternet and the Crestron processor, whether it's a CP3, CP4, or forget which one the other one was, that is over BACnet, and that is we recommend doing it over the local Ethernet, right? The BACnet IP connection. And Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, but we might still support the serial connection as well between the processor and the CoolMasternet.
For non-Crestron home systems, yeah, that's correct.
Mhm.
Yep. And I can put a link to that module in the chat.
There you go.
Thank you. So another question, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with this about BACnet. I just want to emphasize this. Kevin's touched on it a little bit in his presentation, but when you are looking at a project and you're planning on integrating into Crestron, please let us know at CoolAutomation so we can make sure that BACnet and everything is ready, activated, and available as you're getting it and installing it, so everything's set up and ready.
Mm-hmm.
And you mind if I add one more thing to the BACnet conversation?
Yeah, please, absolutely.
Yeah, so just a little background why we chose BACnet to integrate. For people that know Crestron, the BACnet stack has been in our system since the 3 series and 4 series days, which means it's battle hardened. It's been deployed to probably tens of thousands of systems. It's used in commercial systems, enterprise related systems. So it is battle ready, very tested, very robust. So I'm glad that we based the integration on that technology.
Yes, absolutely. I feel the same way. I come from the HVAC industry. I've been working with BACnet for 20 years. It is a solid platform.
Mm-hmm.
David, are you looking at the questions here? I'm a little bit behind now.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with all of them. Marcus, I answered your first couple ones. Send us an email with the details for there. I see a question from Michael about Mitsubishi allowing our devices to sit on their local proprietary bus, and yes, we do have direct native communication support with Mitsubishi electric systems that speak the native MNet communication protocol, and that's the same network where we connect our device. Question from Brian about where do Crestron dealers purchase our products, and we do work with a network of distributors depending on what regional market you're serving and you're located in. So send us an email with your information. We'll be happy to route you to the right location. Integration for heating, floor heaters and thermostats. We do have a specific underfloor heater control board. This question is from Tim. I will send you a link to the page on our website that speaks in regards to the underfloor heater controller we work with. Let me see. More questions are coming in. I'm trying to keep up. Okay.
I'm going to add here as well, a couple of you've asked this already, but to emphasize, this recording is going to be available to everybody that attended today. We will email it out to you on Monday so that you can reference back to it. And if there's any materials that you've seen us cover that might be helpful for any projects you're looking at, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to provide whatever materials will help you technically or from a sales standpoint. And I'm looking through these. I think that David, you answered quite a few of these. Any other ones that we need to answer right now? I think that covers pretty much it. If we didn't cover your question specifically, we do try to answer those, and we'll try to email you back. We'll have a log of those questions. So expect if you didn't hear an answer from us live, we'll be happy to email it out and answer as well. So again, very much appreciate the time and the attention, everybody that attended today. And you have our contact information. Again, I'm opening that invitation to talking to us. Thank you, Kevin, for the presentation. Jason, thank you for participating with us, and Crestron for the great partnership we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I'll go ahead and leave our contact information on the screen for the next 5 minutes or so. But thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate the time and look forward to working with you.
Take care, everybody.